kindness and love. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling men, be kind with your wives, right? Be caring, don't be harsh with your wives. And in one hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says that a woman was created from a bent rib, right? And he says, and this is a really deep hadith, he says that if you try to straighten it, you'll break it. But if you leave it as it is, you'll enjoy it. So what does that mean? Well, women are a certain way, and they're created that way, right? We didn't bend our own rib, we didn't make the rib bent ourselves, but we're created with a certain nature from God. And if you're gonna go and try to change that nature, guess what? You're gonna break it. You're not gonna be successful with that woman. But if you accept her as she is, and accept her nature as it is, you will be successful. And so the idea here is that if you treat her with kindness and you treat her with love, and that unconditional love commandment is more given to men. Because men, on the other hand, have the idea usually, on the mirror of the women, is that I'm only going to be kind and loving to my wife when she's respectful to me. But so long as she shows me disrespect, I'm not going to show her love. And this is also a formula for failure, because the more that a man shows harshness to a woman, the more disrespectful she tends to be. Now, one really beautiful example of this is the example of Umar radiallahu anh. Now, when you think about in your mind who is the most manly man there is that you can just think about, big masculine man, you think of usually Umar ibn al-Khattab. This is one of the most manly men you can think of, right? Now if you think about, this is the man who this story stars, okay? So what happened is then when Umar radiallahu anh was Khalifa, there was one of the men in the society who wanted to come to him to complain about his wife. Now, I guess the women of Ansar were kind of strong, right? So he was going to go complain about his wife, and then when he got close to Umar radiallahu anhu's house, he heard Umar's wife raising her voice to him, and he kind of turned around to go back. And Umar radiallahu anh came out and said, asked him why he came, and he said, well, actually I was coming to complain about the same problem that you have. So Umar radiallahu anh at that time told him something very wise, and he said that my wife, she cooks for me, she cleans for me, she takes care of me, and she takes care of, my home, right? Can I not overlook it or be tolerant when she's, raising her voice or she's talking in a disrespectful way? Now the point here, there's a really deep lesson here, and that is that Umar radiallahu anh understood that to be a man, I mean, you definitely wouldn't call him unmasculine, right? That to be a man does not mean that you need to be harsh, right? He understood that the actual strength that the Prophet ﷺ talked about was in controlling your anger, not letting your anger control you. So, if you look at, again, this advice that we can look at from the Prophet ﷺ, from Allah, that's where we should be getting our sense of self-worth and what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. And until we can use that as our standard, rather than society, rather than, popular culture, we're never going to be successful.